as if we are here to fight them. We're not fighting any demons. We have come with authority to make an announcement to the powers of the dark kingdom. Take your hands off these gates. The real owners of this house have come. You have authority. You have the title. They are squatters, and yet they are fighting you. That is what it is in the realm of the spirit. Demons have been defeated, disarmed, dispossessed, stripped of all their powers, yet they don't just quit. They don't just give in. They will put up a fight. And if you don't know your rights and don't know where you belong, and if you don't know that you are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, that you are the redeemed of the Lord, and that you have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony, they will intimidate you, they will threaten you, they will put fear in you, and you will quit. It's a good place to clap your hands. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. The wisdom that God gives to you without fearing God is just a matter of time. You run into trouble. I don't know how much you fear God, because you see, this generation will do anything for success. They'll do anything to break through. People do anything for power. They do everything for power, for success, and they don't care. But you have to care, because there will come a day where you'll be held accountable. And there's nothing we do right or wrong that we go scot-free. The fear of the Lord is a secret that this generation is not talking about. And that's why so many are not lasting in this generation. That's why scandals are too much. There's so much scandals going on all across the nations and the church. Well, because there is lack of the fear of the Lord. People have no more conscience. It's like people do anything to have the numbers. They do anything to trend. One of the days, one of my guys will say, Papa, you are trending. You know this thing, you have to do more of that. You will trend. And I said, you are sick, young man. I said, I don't need to trend. I don't need to trend. I just need to last. Are you hearing me, somebody? I just need to be around for a long time. I just need to finish my course. A preacher came to me the other day and said, Papa, what is the secret of your success? And I said, I am not successful. He said, what do you mean? You've been around. What is this? And I said, I'm not yet successful. He said, so what is success? I said, success is how you end the race. Until you hear this word, well done, thou good and faithful servant, you are not successful. So stop celebrating. Stop making noise. Tread gently, because the journey is long. And when you have the fear of God in you, when you are dealing with people, you deal with them differently. When you are handling people, you handle them differently. When you have the fear of the Lord, even the way you spend money and the way you do things is different, because you have the fear of the Lord. Somebody say the fear of the Lord. Look at somebody. Look at Abraham. Genesis 22. Genesis 22, 11 to 12. Genesis 22, 11 to 12. And I know that a lot of you like the blessing of Abraham. Yeah, I know that. We sing that song. As the seed of Abraham, the blessing of Abraham is mine. But you got to understand how the blessing came to Abraham. Look at it. Genesis 22, 11 and 12. And the angel of the Lord
called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham,
yes, sir.
Abraham. And he said, here am I. And he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing that thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
You see the key here. He didn't say now. He didn't say now I know you love God. He didn't say now I know you're a man or woman of faith. He said now I know that you reverence God, you respect God. When the son said, Dad, the knife, the wood, everything for the sacrifice is ready. Where is the lamb? And the 3 young men that grew up in his house, they were looking at Abraham and they wanted to see his answer to the son Isaac. And Abraham looked at Isaac in the eye and said, Jehovah Jireh, upon the mountain of the Lord, the provision shall be seen. And then he said to them, I will go to the mountain and sacrifice, and I will come back with a young man. That was a revelation. That he knew that some way, somehow, he will bring back that son alive. That he wasn't going to lose his son. Somebody say yes. Yes. Somebody talk to me, say yes. Yes. And God was waiting to see whether he feared him or not. And this was the fear of God. We don't want preaching it. We don't want to hear it. But I'm telling you, if you want to last, and if you want to be around for a long time, there is something about respect and the fear of Almighty God. Say yes. Yes. And the angel of the Lord said, now we know that you fear God. And then God made a promise. And this is very scary, because it wasn't just a promise, it was an oath. It was an oath. God said to Abraham, I have looked up above the heavens, and there is none greater than I. And I've looked all around the earth, from the north to the south, east to the west. There is none greater than I am. And there is none above I am. I've gone down to the fountains of the waters of the earth, and down beneath the regions of the underworld, and there is none greater than I. And God said, therefore I swear by myself, that Abraham, in blessings I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven and as the sand of the seashore, and your seed shall possess the gates of their enemies. Even that word, we don't understand it. When he said your seed shall possess the gates of their enemies, what he meant was your seed shall dispossess and disinherit those who controls the gates. The gates are not just standing there. Every family has a gate. How many of you have a gate in the house you live in? Give me a wave offering. You have a gate in the house? Yeah, there are gates. Gates of cities, gates of community, gates of nation, and there are people that controls gates. The airport is a gate. The harbor is a gate. Our high sea, there are gates. And he said, your seeds shall dispossess. To possess. You can't possess unless you dispossess. And that is what people call spiritual warfare. As if we are here to fight them. We're not fighting any demons. We have come with authority to make an announcement to the powers of the dark kingdom. Take your hands off these gates. The real owners of this house have come. But do you even realize that if your father passed and leaves you a property, a land, has never been developed, the squatters on the land, they are spiritual squatters. The squatters on the land, sometimes they fight you, even though you have title and they have no title. They can put up a fight, and sometimes I'm told they can take you to court if they've lived on the land for some number of years. Even though they have no papers, they can fight you. You have authority, you have the title. They are squatters, and yet they are fighting you. That is what it is in the realm of the spirit. Demons have been defeated, disarmed, dispossessed, stripped of all their powers, yet they don't just quit. They don't just give in. They will put up a fight. And if you don't know your rights and don't know where you belong, and if you don't know that you are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, that you are the redeemed of the Lord, and that you have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony, they will intimidate you, they will threaten you, they will put fear in you, and you will quit. It's a good place to clap your hands.